Yo, what's up, dudes? What's up? How's it going? So, I wanted to come on here quickly and do a quick video because I had a buddy over the other day. We were belting down the troopers. I picked up a couple of bottles about I don't know, a month or two ago, and I really liked it. So I went back and picked up some more, and I was showing him how awesome this beer was. Actually, it's really good beer. It's a British ale. It's an ale. So if you like lagers, you may not dig it, but I really liked it. Anyway, not to get off on a beer tangent, off on a beer jag. One of the things that came up, and one of the reasons, and pretty much the point of this video was, we started like trading war stories about the guitars that got away, right? Guitars either one, we passed on when we really shouldn't have passed on, or just missed the boat on it, or two, it was just a crazy deal that we weren't going to get, but when you saw it, you were like, oh my God, that's insane. And the chances of getting it were zero, but maybe you had a fantasy for a couple of hours until you or at least a few minutes until you figured out it wasn't going to happen. So I listed a bunch, but I'm only going to do my top three because this will be a 2-hour video unless I just stick with my top three. But I have about 10 I've written down over here. But let's just go with the top three of the ones that got away. And I would love to hear, I'm sure I am not alone, I would love to hear about the ones that got away from you guys. So let's start out with number 3 on the list. We'll do my top 3. Number 3, a 2000 and something Gibson SG Standard. So went with my kids. We went down to the grand opening of the Braintree store for Guitar Center. And while we were down there, they were, putting all stuff around, and it was really busy. And it was school vacation. We were down there just killing time, go check out the new store or whatever. And they bring out a really nice Gibson SG in ebony standard. So it's got the cream binding around the neck, and it has the trapezoid inlays. And they stick a price, big old tagger on the front of it, $399. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, "Whoa. I think I want that guitar." And my kids were like, "That's an ugly guitar. I don't like that guitar. I think you should buy this guitar. My daughter wants me to buy a pink guitar. My son wants me to buy a guitar with lightning bolt on it." And I was like, no. This is it. They're like, no, that's sort of, if you get a guitar, I want a guitar. And I was like, oh my God, why do I bring them? So I said, you know what? Just run out of here right now. He just put it on the shelf. Go home, drive straight home, call him up and order it over the phone. And I'm on the highway. It's about a 30-minute drive. I'm on the highway and I'm going, boy, you just really screwed. You're taking a big risk here. Taking a big risk. Get home, call him immediately, sold. And she was like, yeah, that was a crazy price on that, huh? I said, yeah, I know. It was crazy. Why, I oughta. So that one gone. $399. And I'm pretty sure it came with a hard shell case too. So that was a sort of a blowout manager special. And I should have just sucked it up and bought it right there. I don't know what I was thinking. The number 2 on the list was a Kramer, a used Kramer, like this. This is an 83. The one I was looking at was an 86. It had the droop beak headstock. It was a Beretta, so it had one pickup instead of 2 like this one. But it had Floyd Rose, and I'm pretty sure it was a rosewood fingerboard, but it was on Craigslist. It was he had 2 guitars, an older, an 87 or an 88, like Pacer Custom 1, Custom 2, and he had the Beretta. For the Pacer one, the Pacer Custom 2, I think he wanted $250. And for the Beretta, which had a Klein custom paint job, so it was like the half of Earth with the moon up here. It's called Space. They made about, from my research online, it says they made 67 of that particular graphic, all painted by hand. And God, I wanted that guitar so bad. And he wanted $175. And I was falling all over myself to buy that guitar. And it was in a really shishi town. It was in a town that, if there was a town that would have a couple of those guitars sitting around and have no idea and just throw it out there just to get rid of it, it would be that town. So there's probably not a home in that entire town that's less than $1 million. So I was like, oh my God, this is insane. So either it was a massive grift, which I don't think so. The ad came down about an hour later, and I think he just sold it. I think it was a clean out. It looked to me like they were cleaning the place out. They were probably moving, and it was just dumping stuff. I mean, who knows what was happening, but and who knows what it sold for. Someone might have offered him more money. But the thought of getting that Klein Space graphic for, and I think I have a picture, but it's not this exact one, but it looked exactly like this, to get that Klein graphic for $175. I mean, that's just insane. But it pales in comparison to my number one. Back in the early 80s, I had just started really getting obsessed with guitar. I really got into it when I got my Ibanez Les Paul, and that was in the fall of 1980. I had been playing, an old Aria ES335, so, it was nice to get this new, like, rock guitar, solid electric guitar, and I was bitten with the bug. I was all obsessed about guitars. That spring we buy the 73 Strat for $300, which is insane price, and so every week I would get, my dad was obsessed with it too, for buying automobiles and tools, all kinds of stuff. We would get the one advertiser every week. That was the old version of Craigslist. You'd get out, and for, $1 or $1.50, you'd buy this big, massive one advertiser that literally had 5,000 ads in it. And you would go through, and they had all sections on automobiles. Got so crazy in the one ads, they broke out a separate one just for autos. And the other one was everything else but autos. So this was the way. This was the Craigslist of its time. And it was on the honor system, so you could post it and not have to pay a listing fee. That's why they were so popular. You only had to pay if you sold it, and they were based on the honor system. And quite frankly, a lot of people blew them off. But they didn't matter. I think they broke even on the publication, and they made their gravy from the people who had... And they had enough people, it was worth it, right? They were still making money. Great. They're out of business now, but at the time, they were it. So I'm getting them one. It came out every Tuesday. And that Tuesday morning, I would run down. My dad would he's like, go down and get the one ads right now. And I'd be waiting out there for the truck to come. And I swear to God, the deals almost depended on where you were on their route. The closer you were to their place, and you would get a copy maybe an hour earlier, you could do better. But, that's just the way it goes. It was not the instant of the internet. So we get the latest one. This was in 81, because we were in this building. I knew this had to be in 81. And I'm reading through, and I come across the ad. I'll never forget this ad. It's the holy grail of all ads. It's almost written out of a storybook. It's so ridiculously awesome. So I get to the listing. Gibson Les Paul. My dad played in the 50s. One string missing. $50. And, of course, I fall over myself to call the number, and it's a busy signal, right? Busy signals. It's a relic of a time past, right? You don't really, not too many busy signals these days. You go to voicemail, or you have call waiting. Busy signal. Try back a minute later. Busy signal. A minute after that. 30 seconds later. I mean, I am just trying to get through. So bad. It's like I'm calling for tickets. Like a contest, like a radio contest. I mean, that's what it felt like. Well, I called all day and that night, until I I was 15, so I don't think I was up at midnight. I'm sure I was going to bed around 10 p.m., but I called all night, and I called the next day when I got out of school, and oh my God, I was obsessed with that guitar. Busy Signal the whole time. Finally, about 2 days later, maybe 3 days into it, it rings. I'm like, oh my God. And picks up a phone, and it's like this total Boston, hello. Sounded a little bit beat up and worn out. I said, hi, I'm calling. I got about that much out. She yells, it's sold. Click. And I have a feeling that was a real ad. Now, you got to remember, in 1981, that guitar, let's assume it was like a 55. The guitar's only about 26 years old, or let's say it's a 56. That guitar is, it's only 25 years old. I mean, dating that back to now, that would be a guitar that's like, not that, 1990? Right? We're closing in on 1990. 1989 right now is 25 years ago. So when you think about it like that, you're like, well, that really isn't that much of a spread between that 1950s and that 1981. So they weren't that much money compared to today. You could buy a 50s Les Paul for between $2,500 and $5,000. Even a 59 Les Paul, was only like, $4,500, $5,000, which was a crazy amount of money in that time. And like 10 times what retail was. Retail in I have a 1982 catalog. We'll have to go through it and look at some of those prices. I have a 1982 catalog from a legitimate place out of New Jersey. I just happened to find the catalog recently. And a Gibson Les Paul sold in the May of 82. They had the Les Paul Standard listed, I want to say it's $600, and Les Paul Custom at $650. So, clearly, even at $50, that's like an insane amount of money. That's like a nominal sum that's nominated to fill in for what it should really cost. So anyway, I would love to hear. I think that's like that has always been like the most insane one I'll ever remember. But I would love to hear the ones that the crazy, because I know they're out there. I know I'm not the only one. Tell me about the 57 Strat that was out there for, $250, because I guarantee you someone's going to have a crazy story. So I'd love to hear. Give me some feedback in the comments, and because I love to hear those stories, and I'm looking forward to it. So, all right, guys, that's it. The ones that got away or potentially never even had a chance, but, the crazy, insane deals. Tell me about your crazy, insane deal, and I'll be back very soon with another vid. Until then, as always, rock on.